TV started getting bigger. It's looking like it's gonna fall on me, all right? And I was doing fine. He's gonna come walking in, read that joke, just be like, wait a minute.
From a Boston-accented spiral about robots taking jobs that turns Conan O'Brien into a giggling string bean, to a 2-minute carpet bombing of one of cable's smuggest pundits that ends with Bill Burr asking, "Why am I fucking listening to you?" Here are 10 times the late-night host class got demolished by Bill Burr. The Wikipedia robot takeover. Starting at the foundation of Bill Burr's entire late-night demolition tour, Conan O'Brien, that rubber-faced, Harvard-educated giggle merchant, sat down expecting a tidy little exchange about the economy and where technology's heading. Standard cue card stuff, polished punchline in, commercial breakout. What he got was a Boston comedian completely tearing up the blueprints. Burr didn't engage with the question. He cited YouTube and Wikipedia research, the two least credible sources on planet Earth, as his evidence that robots are gonna replace us all. Then, without warning, he diverted the entire interview into a paranoid spiral about how he hasn't had kids, and that's why he's losing his mind, comparing himself to that bald guy in Predator hiding in the trees. Conan didn't push back. Conan couldn't push back. He just folded over the desk and let the wrecking ball swing. A dog and dying dreams. While Conan in America understands the assignment every time Burr walks on set, the British were not prepared. Graham Norton, that polished couch curator of celebrity giggles, runs a panel show where rich, drunk Hollywood actors lob each other softballs about their pets. Pure, top-floor cocktail party. The topic that night was the love of dogs. Easy bit, universal bit. Burr looked around at the rosé glow, the polite British studio audience, the A-list celebrities sitting beside him, and he hit them with a depression-shaped hand grenade. He told the room that you don't appreciate a dog until you're an adult, when your dreams start dying, somebody cheats on you, and bankers fuck up your 401k. The couch went quiet. The hosts stopped sipping. He brought a wrecking ball into a wine bar, and the BBC didn't know whether to laugh or call HR and Mothers and Roofing in July. Yet, while the BBC could at least cut to a commercial and steady the studio, David Letterman didn't want a steady studio. The gap-toothed CBS gargoyle was famously hard to impress, sat back in his chair, and basically dared Burr to walk into a Class A construction site and try to demolish the wrong target. The wrong target being moms, and specifically, the cultural untouchability of Oprah Winfrey claiming motherhood is the hardest job on the planet. Burr didn't argue feelings. He pulled out math. He listed actual industrial fatality statistics from ice road truckers, deep-sea crab boats, and his own time roofing in July as a redhead, and asked the audience point-blank whether any of those jobs sound easier than putting a DVD into a DVD player. The room groaned. Then the room stood up. And Letterman, the king of CBS, sat there and quietly handed him the desk. Men just dropped dead. But while Letterman handed over the desk like a man who appreciated the craftsmanship of a clean teardown, Jimmy Fallon, the laminated boy king of NBC, runs the safest, brightest, most aggressively cheerful job site in television. Charades, lip-sync battles, chair dances. Fallon's set is mathematically engineered to never make a celebrity uncomfortable. So Burr walked in, and within 30 seconds, brought up the fact that he's 56, soon to be 57, and that this is the age men just drop dead. He explained on Fallon's own desk that men faceplant into their breakfast waffles in cubicles, and nobody cares because they're disposable. Fallon's eyes shot off camera. You could hear a producer's spine crack. The entire premise of NBC's nightly happy place was just hit by a jackhammer about cubicle mortality and male disposability, and Jimmy still had to find a segue to the next bit. The angry comedian label. Yet, not every Burr demolition is a frontal swing of the wrecking ball. Sometimes the trick is refusing to swing at all. Stephen Colbert, the Ivy League cue card pope of CBS, opened a Late Show interview by trying to slot Burr into a tidy, network-friendly box. So you're known as an angry comedian. That right there is the trick. It's not a question. It's a stage direction. Perform the anger, please, on cue for our pre-written segment. And Burr just didn't. He balked. He pointed out calmly, that you can't be angry without an actual topic to be angry at. He refused to do the trained SEAL trick. The second Colbert lost the script, the audience went silent. The room went silent. The whole late show machinery seized up because Colbert had no fallback. The blueprint was the only thing he had, and Burr just walked off the job site. The Catholic Church went too far. While Colbert took a full 8 minutes to be demolished by silence, Burr's most efficient kill in late-night history clocks in at 11 words. Back to Conan. Same desk, same rubber-faced host, and this time Conan tries to play standards and practices. He gently asks if Burr maybe went too far in a previous bit about the Catholic Church. He's the voice of network civility, the polite version of the network lawyer. And Burr, without missing a beat, simply replies, "Don't you think the Catholic Church went too far?" Read that punchline. 11 words, one swing. Conan didn't recover. He didn't pivot. He didn't pretend the shot didn't land. He just folded in half across the desk like a man whose own building had been condemned. That's the entire strategy. Take whatever moral hammer the host is holding and turn it back into the load-bearing wall they were standing on. The Snowflake Hypocrisy. Speaking of moral hammers, when Jimmy Kimmel decided to swing one, Burr melted it down for parts. Kimmel, ABC's resident partisan applause maestro, set up what should have been a layup. A celebrity appearance the week after a UFC event where Trump got booed and a woman gave him the finger. The script was right there. Burr was supposed to walk through the door, denounce the Republicans, collect his applause, and go home. Instead, he ate the script. He pointed out, on Kimmel's own desk, that the Trump crowd whines about cancel culture but loses its mind every time someone makes fun of Trump, and that the Biden crowd does the exact same thing in reverse. He yelled "F Joe Biden" on ABC in front of Kimmel's own progressive studio audience just to prove the symmetry. Kimmel laughed nervously and tried to redirect. He couldn't. The applause break never came. The genuine human conversation. Yet here's the structural twist. The wrecking ball doesn't always swing. The angry Boston redhead routine isn't actually a personality. It's an immune response. Specifically, an immune response to artificial late-night machinery. The second the machinery isn't there, the whole act drops. Enter Craig Ferguson, the Scottish cue card shredding insomniac who used to run his post-midnight show like a man who genuinely didn't believe television should exist. No band, no pre-interview. Cue cards literally torn up on camera before every guest. And when Burr sat down across from him, Burr just softened. The two of them had a real, unguarded conversation about life and comedy. No demolition, no raised voice. Burr smiled. Burr listened. Burr didn't swing the hammer once. Because Ferguson had already torn down the building Burr usually shows up to demolish. There was nothing left to wreck. Just two guys talking on a clean lot. You laminate your face. But while Ferguson got the warm peer treatment, Jimmy Fallon got Burr a second time. And this round, the wrecking ball came swinging at the host's actual face. The unwritten rule of network television is that you do not, under any circumstances, comment on the host's appearance. Hair plugs are sacred. Botox is invisible. The vanity is the load-bearing wall of the entire format. Burr walked onto Fallon's own set, NBC primetime, full studio audience, and demolished that wall with a sledgehammer. He told Fallon to his face on his own show that he's sick of that guy trying to rewrite his origin story, that Fallon was a nerd nobody hung with, and now he's got hair plugs and laminates his face. Read that again. He called him laminated, on camera. Fallon didn't even attempt a comeback. He covered his face with his hands and physically collapsed onto his own desk. The fantasy general demolition. Yet, while Fallon's vanity took a wrecking ball, Bill Maher took a full controlled demolition with the press cameras invited. Maher, that smug centrist who spent 30 years pretending he's a foreign policy intellectual, sat down with Burr on his own podcast, his own studio, his own home turf, and tried to pull rank. He told Burr condescendingly that questioning American war policy is not your thing. Standard fantasy general monologue. Burr didn't argue policy. He just looked at Maher and dropped the diagnosis. You're like that guy that has a fantasy football team and thinks he's a fucking GM. Why am I fucking listening to you? What have you done in Washington? Nothing. Stop talking like you're a general. On his own podcast, in his own studio, to his face. That's the entire pundit class, identified, condemned, demolished by a stand-up comedian who didn't even raise his voice. Maher stammered. Maher got defensive. Maher tried to claim he'd never go to Washington, which is, of course, the exact point. The whole tower came down, proving that no matter how big the desk, how shiny the studio, or how laminated the host, there's always one red-headed Boston bricklayer with a wrecking ball where his mouth should be.